Imagine you receive some windfall and suddenly you find yourself with some extra cash. What do? Go on a shopping spree? Book flights and go on a holiday? Maybe you take the high road and decide to be financially responsible with the money. So do you. Pay off debt? Save the money? Can't decide? Keep watching for some tips. Paying off debt versus saving. When you find yourself with some spare cash, one question that comes up is whether you should save or pay off debt. For most people, the answer isn't straightforward, especially if the interest rate of your savings account is lower than that of the debt you want to pay off. So which is the better option? Well, the answer will probably be to do a bit of both. It is important to start saving. Although paying off your debt is important, so is building up financial reserves. The first steps to take before you start paying off the bad debt, is to start building up an emergency fund and to take advantage of employer-matched retirement savings and whatever else your employer offers. Building up an emergency fund. Having cash set aside will allow you to deal with a myriad of unforeseen circumstances that can happen and throw a serious wrench in your financial goals, such as medical emergencies, unemployment, or business downturns. The rule of thumb is to have up to 6 months' living expenses saved up in an emergency fund. But this would be the ideal situation only if you had taken care of certain debts first. In a situation where you still have some debt to pay off, this might not be the best advice. In this situation, use the 50-30-20 budget, depending on your situation. This model dictates that you allocate 50% of your salary to needs. This includes things like housing, groceries, transport costs, etc. Then allocate 30% of your salary to wants. This can be things like dining out, going to the movies, and so on. The final 20% then gets split between paying off debts and savings. Also, depending on how much debt you have, you might have to cut back on your wants to cover your debts. Many big names in the financial world recommend that you pay yourself first, and for good reason. Rather than saving the leftovers at the end of the month, transfer a set amount into a high-yield savings account at the beginning of the month. You also don't need to have built up the full 6 months' worth of living expenses before starting to pay off bad debts, just have some savings. At this stage, it's about getting into the habit of saving and stop spending money you haven't earned yet. Before we continue, please give this video a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. Take advantage of employer benefits. When faced with high levels of debt, this might be the last thing you think about. Try to take advantage of any retirement plan benefits your employer may offer. That's money for nothing. You'll be amazed at the compounding effect that will have on your retirement funds. Pay off bad debt. Now that you have some savings, start paying off your bad debts, things like high-interest credit cards, loans, etc. Start with the ones with the highest interest rates, as they cost you the most, the longer you have them. The next step. Now that your high-interest, bad debt is taken care of, you will have more funds available to build up greater savings funds and also continue to pay off other debts. Now it's become more important to look at what interest you are paying, versus what you could be earning, especially if you consider the compounding effect of interest. With enough emergency cash reserves to cover your expenses for up to 6 months or even longer, the greater percentage of your cash should be put towards savings and investing. The reasoning behind this, is that you have enough funds in your emergency reserves to cover your debt for 6 months, should you find yourself out of a job, giving you time to find employment again. Also, apart from paying off your mortgage sooner, and saving on some interest, there isn't other benefits, like a reduced monthly repayment. Separate your emergency fund from your savings account. With an emergency fund, you need to be able to access this fund quickly. These funds are meant for emergencies like your car breaking down, medical emergencies, and other financial emergencies. Emergency funds should be kept in a liquid bank account. A savings account that is meant for investment should be kept separate from the emergency fund as well as your checking account. This savings account is typically less accessible and is regulated by the Federal Reserve in terms of the number of withdrawals you can make per month, which is 6 withdrawals per month. This is to encourage a culture of saving and limit impulsive spending. Consider your unique financial situation when deciding which is best for you. If you're not sure, and need help with a comprehensive solution, consider working with a financial coach or financial planner. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.